What you folks need to do is to just go and do a bit of research into how capital controls have existed in the past, in what countries, and how it's been implemented. I'll give you the 30-second overview. What happens, and they never call them capital controls, or very rarely. What they do is they will say movement of capital outside of the country is restricted to some degree for your safety. And you can only move, I don't know, $25,000 a month or $20,000 a year or some, and it'll often start off with a fairly highish figure, and where the vast majority of people go, oh, it doesn't affect me. I didn't want to move $1 million anyway. I don't even have a million. And
Right.
then it just moves down the rung. So that's one of the steps. The other one is just taxation. In other words, you close out the borders where you say you can't move capital outside of this domicile, outside of this jurisdiction without permissions or without da 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 da. The second step then is to say that what you do own domestically, what you own here, now it's if you're over da 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 wealth, you're now taxed at 80%
Yeah.
or 60% or something like that. Basically what California is looking at doing. So you shut off the borders on the outside and then you start constricting on the inside. And now it's not called capital controls, but it's a theft of your assets. Okay. Taxation is simply theft by another name. And so what now you're stuck with, you go, oh shit, so right now the Netherlands is just imposing a 30% tax on
Unrealized.
unrealized capital gains. Okay. We've got clients coming into our Argentinian deals out of Netherlands who basically found they can't invest. It is because there's a couple of things that have already happened. They've imposed exit tax of 50%. So if you're going to leave, they take half your money. And
Criminals.
clients are saying to me, but I don't want to lose half my money. And what I'm saying to them is, you've already lost it. You've already lost it. If you can't take it with you, it's not yours.
Yeah.
The next step, okay, so they did that before. That was the precursor, which is why I've said capital controls are coming. Now they've just turned around and said, oh, by the way, your existing holdings, we're going to tax you 36% on unrealized capital, whether it be dividends. So now let's say you come and you say, you know what, you guys at Glenorchy are so fucking smart. Let me give you some money. And you come into our Cayman fund and you give us, just say for argument's sake, $1 million. We have a good year. Maybe we make you $300,000, 30% return. And it stays in the fund. You've bought a unit in the fund, so you've not realized it. We've compounded dividends. We've done all that sort of stuff. Stays in the fund. Your government doesn't give a shit. They say, no, you made 30%. You made $300,000. We want 36% of that. Do you have 36% of that to pay the government? Probably not. So now you're going to turn around to us and say, hey, we need to sell some of the assets to pay our tax bill. That doesn't work. You can't keep doing that. So the point that I'm making is that these are the methods that are used to impose capital controls. The way out of it, the only realistic way out of it, is to change your domicile. You need to have a domicile, and this doesn't have to be citizenships. Now, I don't want to say too much because I'm not a tax expert. I'm not a lawyer, yada, 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 but I've done enough and learned enough in this space. You want to have a domicile where you can say, I'm domiciled XYZ location, Dubai, Singapore, wherever. It doesn't have to be a tax haven, but some other location. And then you set up investments in accordance with that location. And that is the only way you exit that system. Holding assets in dollars or in euros or in anything, provided it's within that domicile, is worthless. If they take it, they take whatever you have. It doesn't matter whether it, even you could say, oh, I own gold. What if they just tax your gold? Or they make gold investment illegal or whatever. Provided it's in that domicile, you're screwed. You're in the pen.
Yeah.
So I know this isn't what people want to hear, but it's the reality. It's a trick. So take
So
that and do what you will.
is a domicile like getting a residency or getting a green card, a passport in those areas? Is that
Doesn't
what you
have
mean
to
by
be a
domicile?
passport, like I said.
A residency,
Doesn't have
then
to be a
something.
passport. You
Okay.
can again, like you could go and you can set up a company in Dubai for like
Okay. I see.
$1,500 or something, and
Gotcha.
and then with it you can get a residency permit, and then you can reside there. Now there's some restrictions. You have to travel there every 6 months, I think, on that particular visa. Again, go and look at it yourselves. I'm not here to teach you how to do that, but
Right.
there's many mechanisms to do that. So now you're a resident in that particular location. Then you make investments from that location, and they're in that corporate entity, which is, and it's in a different jurisdiction. That's basically what what people do. So obviously, if you have another passport, fine, you can. But even another passport doesn't help you unless you've
Mhm.
actually got tax residency and domicile in another location that's out of the detonation zone. Again, go and read Wealth, War, and Wisdom. This is what
What they
not just
talk about.
wealthy. And people go, "Oh, I'm not wealthy enough." I mean, someone mentioned this the other day.